Okay, this is Algebra 1, Lesson 26. And basically in this chapter, we're going to be doing more complicated equations. Well, pretty much what we did in 25, where we used the additive property of equality and multiplicative property of equalities. Basically, it says if we add something to both sides, it doesn't change the equation. And if we multiply something to both sides, it doesn't change the equation. Likewise, what we do to one side, we have to do the other side to make those properties true. And then many times you have to use these properties in several forms. So let's look at the first example. Let's look at 3x minus 4 equals 5x plus 7. Okay, we've got some rules in, oops, not very clear. We've got some rules in algebra for solving equations, kind of like, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Basically, what it says is if first thing you want to do is you want to use the distributive property. Remember, the distributive property is when you have this, and you have to get rid of the parentheses. Okay? We don't have the distributive property here. So, what we're going to do, the next thing, is to combine any like terms on either side of the equation. Okay, do I have a like term here? No, I have a 3x, you can't see that, minus 4, and I have a 5x plus 7. You can't combine either one, so they're not like terms. So the next step to do is eliminating the variables on one side. I have a 3x on the left side, and I have a 5x on the right side. It doesn't matter. I can move it to either side. I've got to eliminate the variable on one side and put it all on one. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, remember, that's the opposite of positive 3x. It simply cancels. You can't forget this negative here. So that's simply negative 4 equals 2x, because the signs are different. So you find the difference in the coefficients, plus 7. Our next step is to eliminate the constant term on the side with the variable. That would be this. Remember, 7 is a constant. So we subtract 7 from both sides. And we get, because they're alike, you add them and get 2x. Okay, then you simply divide both sides by 2, and you get x equals negative 11 halves. Simple as that. So let's try another one. What are we going to do? What's the first thing we want to do? We want to do the distributive property. You need to write these rules down, and if you look on page 111 in the middle of the book, right above example 26.6, you'll have those steps in order. But the first step you want to add is missing a step. So make it 5 steps, but change step 1 to distributive property. You need to write those down in your notes, and you need to keep them. Alrighty. So let's do another one. Let's do another complicated one. So let's do 3x. Go a little higher here. 3x plus 2 minus x plus 4 equals a negative 5 minus x plus 4. So do we have anything to distribute? No, we don't have a parentheses. But do we have like terms? Let's look at the left side. Don't I have a 3x and a negative x? That simply is 2x. Then I've got a positive 2 and a positive 4, which is positive 6. Now go to this side. Is there anything to distribute? This is a 4, not a y. The like terms, I've got a negative 5 and a positive 4, which is a negative 1 minus x. Now this is 2x plus 6, in case you can't read it, equals negative 1 minus x. So the next thing is I want to get rid of my variable on one side. So I'm going to add x to both sides. Okay, this gives me 3x plus 6 equals negative 1. You're going to subtract 6 from both sides. You're going to get 3x equals negative 5, and then you want to divide both sides by 3, and you get x equals a negative 5 thirds. Simple as that. All right. Let's see if we do any bad math here and check it out. But the important thing is you want to do, is there anything to distribute? No. Then you want to add like terms on each side of the equation and combine them. So you get 2x plus 6 equals, oh, I did this wrong. This is a minus 4. Let's change it. This becomes a minus 9. Because remember, negative 5 and negative 4 are the same signs now. And you combine them, it becomes negative 9. Alright, so this becomes a negative 9. This becomes a negative 15. And this becomes a negative 5. Okay. Then when I get this, this is a negative x. It's got an implied coefficient of 1. What's the opposite of negative? Positive x. So you add positive x to the other side. These become 0, and what do you left with? A negative 9. You cannot forget that negative. Then you add x plus 2x. That's an implied 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. And then simply plus 6. How do you get rid of the 6 on this side? You have to add its opposite, which is negative 6. Do it to the other side. Then you're left with 3x equals, what is a negative and a negative? You can't forget your integer rules. It's 15 or negative 15. And you divide both sides by 3 because you want to get rid of the coefficient of the variable, which is the last step, which gives you a negative 5. So what's important on this lesson is to follow the steps. Step 1, and you need to write these down in your notes. Do distributive property. Then the other steps are the next 4 steps that are listed on page 111. The second one would be simplify by adding like terms on each side of the variables, each side of the equation. Third is eliminate the variable on one side, and then eliminate the constant term on the side of the variable. Constant term is a number without a variable. 6, negative 9. That's a constant term. Then you want to solve for the variable, or you want to get rid of the coefficient with the variable. Isn't this variable have a coefficient of 3? So how do you get rid of it? You divide by itself or multiply by its reciprocal, because you want to equal it to 1. You want x to be 0 because it'll go away. You want x just to be x times 1, and that's what you do. Okay, the code for this particular lesson is going to be 511, and you can turn that in on the top of homework number 24. Okay, the number 511 on homework 24.